Well, a very good morning to you, audience. I am coming to you from the Media Lab headquarters this beautiful morning. But of course, Entebbe has received some bit of a downpour, and of course, as a country, we are still testing the wrath of COVID-19 and related effects, with the rising cases of teenage pregnancy that still worry the country. Apparently, the most disappointing stories you see, these girls being impregnated by their own relatives, but also some schools being conservative that those girls who are pregnant will not be able to go back to class, and that of course still brings it more discussions. But of course, society remains very key in as far as how handling these cases are concerned. But this beautiful morning, of course, to make us understand, I am joined by Aaron Kiwumulo, who is a teacher but also a psychologist, to just make us understand what should be done for such kind of scenarios that of course are worrying the country. And Madam Aaron Kiwumulo, thank you for joining me on Morning at NTV.
You're welcome.
What do you make of teenage pregnancy?
Now, what do I make of teenage pregnancy?
Yeah, as a result of lockdown on schools.
Now, there is something we should know, that girls are safer in schools. Girls are very safe in schools because schools help these girls focus. For us as teachers, we always help these girls focus on their core values. We help them build brands. But one of the challenges that we got during lockdown, these girls don't have an accountability of who they are and their brand. So actually, this is checking out on the parenting style, and it's also checking out on the girls themselves. What are their core values? What is their purpose in life? You realize that some of these problems, some of these pregnancies would be reduced if they themselves own their lives and have accountability that I'm supposed to be this, I'm working, they should have a purpose of living.
So you're trying to tell us that the parents had not prepared their own daughters to manage their own life as well?
Now, this cuts across. For the parenting styles, yes, but even the teaching, even the teachers. At school, we've really tried hard. For example, I'm a fine art teacher, but there is something I always refer to. I refer to my students as brands, building a brand. And each time I've taken this direction, I've seen results with my work. When we are producing work, it's not about an exercise from Aaron Kiwumulo, it's not an exercise from Nalumansi, but it's about, we usually attach names to us, that it's now Aaron's Creative House. That is my brand name if I'm doing my artwork. And I tell the students to also have brands. It is not about Nalumansi, it is not about, it can be Jen's Designs, it can be Jen's Designs, it can be Richard's Creations. Now, I so happen to get results when they produce work with protecting their brands. The work is better than them having their normal names.
But you've seen these girls, a number of them being impregnated by their own relatives. There is a case in the media where the father impregnated his own daughter. But how can society support these girls?
Now, this is something that has been hidden, that probably it's coming up now, but it's very common in school. There is a school around Kampala I used to teach in around 5 years back, but it's the grandfather who impregnated the daughter because the parents were no longer in the home, but the grandfather took advantage of the girl. So when this girl eventually got pregnant, she was in senior 2, we brought her on board to inquire more. And the girl said, I cannot do much because Daddy, Jaja is going to stop paying my fees. So these are things that have been hidden, but they are very much present. But as society, we are always against them. Actually, this cuts across for parents who are separating from when mommy is separating from daddy, separation, divorces. It's a very common thing that when women leave children behind, most men or relatives take advantage of those children. So it is a big saga, but you also have to decampaign. This is one thing. One time when we were talking about the teenage pregnancy or the early marriages, we realized that parents are selling in their children for early marriage, but taking them into psychologically being defiled. And I was cautioning the public on the way you get bride wealth for your child to be defiled.
But now we see that most schools are conservative. There are those schools that do not allow pregnant girls to return in class, and by the time schools will be reopened in January, some of these girls will be mothers, others will be still pregnant. But what do you think should be the way forward to have them return to class?
As a teacher,
and many in number.
As a teacher and a mother, I know that when we train girls, we train a nation. By the way, when we look at the statistics we have around, it has taken, for now, we have around 723 million girls worldwide who are going to join the workforce because of pregnancy, or they may not go back to school because of the COVID-19. It's not only in Uganda, but it's a problem worldwide, and this is causing the 723 million girls vulnerable. Vulnerable women are very hard to handle. If anything, the crime rate from the women's side will be high because they have to support the young girls. But this is what, in my view, I would say. I would seriously insist to make a plan for the pregnant girls in schools, because they are supposed to be in schools.
And they are safe in schools.
And they are safe in schools. And this is also going to increase our workforce. This is also going to increase, to change our parenting styles, the approach to helping them attach value to who they are and their core values, and give life a second chance.
But there's psychosocial support as well in communities, people looking at them now as people who have maybe now become a waste of time, and also they also now feel isolated from the rest of the communities. So the psychosocial support bit of it, and the way forward as we wind up.
And the way forward, I call upon the general public to, I don't want to give this, to have the social labels on these girls. We need to support them, go through. I was telling you, it's taken us 20 years to raise the number of working women to 11%. Now the pandemic has put us to around, actually that is worldwide, the pandemic has now put us to a level of around 4%, because most women have lost their jobs. But even in this thing, male voices matter. Male voices matter. Why? There are the male counterparts who have made these girls pregnant. So we call upon the general public, we call upon men to support our girls. Let you not be among those men who are giving this other poor product of a child that is coming out of the COVID. The male voices matter so much. The psychosocial support, the parents, it's now going to become an aggressive way to parent, to reclaim.
You also call upon community counselors.
Yes. Now,
to these girls as well as we wind up.
Yes, as psychologists, we look at what we call parapsychologists. The parapsychologists, now we have to train those people willing to give in the work, to do the work, because on villages we have the women counselors. People who are passionate about society should be trained to come on board to intervene with this big crisis of the girl-child pregnancy.
Well, for time purposes, we'll leave it there, but thank you very much for talking to us this beautiful morning.
You're welcome.
Well, Aaron Chiwumulo is a teacher, a psychologist, of course, just speaking to us on a day when the country is, of course, still seeing the girl child suffer in the hands of the heartless men who are making them pregnant and narrowing their future. But of course, as the situation calls for more support, more efforts by those who can help these girls, we also still say that something should be done, and especially these girls should return to class and continue with their studies. But Morning at 10 TV will this time leave Entebbe on a day, of course, when we have seen a downpour and return to the studio.